Hello, and welcome to Sanlando Sound Waves. I'm Cheryl Bain. This is week 34, day 166. Today, our reading is the first chapter of the book of Nehemiah. The words of Nehemiah, son of Hakaliah. In the month of Kislev, in the 20th year, while I was in the citadel of Susa, Hanani, one of my brothers, came from Judah with some other men, and I questioned them about the Jewish remnant that had survived the exile and also about Jerusalem. They said to me, "Those who survived the exile and are back in the province are in great trouble and disgrace. The wall of Jerusalem is broken down and its gates have been burned with fire." When I heard these things, I sat down and wept. For some days I mourned and fasted and prayed before the God of heaven. Then I said, "Lord, the God of heaven, the great and awesome God, who keeps his covenant of love with those who love him and keep his commandments, let your ear be attentive and your eyes be open to hear the prayer your servant is praying before you day and night for your servants, the people of Israel. I confess the sins we Israelites, including myself and my father's family, have committed against you. We have acted very wickedly toward you. We have not obeyed the commands, decrees, and laws you gave your servant Moses. Remember the instruction you gave your servant Moses, saying, 'If you are unfaithful, I will scatter you among the nations. But if you return to me and obey my commands, then even if your exiled people are at the farthest horizon, I will gather them from there and bring them to the place I have chosen as a dwelling for my name. They are your servants and your people, whom you redeemed by your great strength and your mighty hand. Lord, let your ear be attentive to the prayer of your name. Give your servant access today by granting him favor in the presence of this man." I was cupbearer to the king. Let's look at our 7 arrows. What does this passage say? What did this passage mean to its original audience? What does this passage tell us about God? What does this passage tell us about humanity? What does this passage demand of me? How does this passage change the way I relate to people? And what does this passage prompt me to pray to God? Now let's look at the brief devotional on page 185. God promised to restore his people to the land as an act of grace. The Bible records the return of a small group of exiled Israelites to the Promised Land under Nehemiah and Ezra. The main goal of these leaders was to rebuild the city of Jerusalem and restore worship in the temple. It's painful to see how far the people fell. Their land was dismantled and the temple destroyed. The work that had taken them so long to complete had fallen to ruin. If there was ever a time when the fulfillment of God's promises looked bleak, this was the time. The temple's destruction served as a picture of a broken nation. Nehemiah worked to rebuild the city, and Ezra labored to restore worship. Yet the hope of the people was never found in a renewed land, but in the hope that God would somehow bring a permanent solution to their ongoing failure. As the people waited, Nehemiah and Ezra exemplified faithfulness and trust in God in the midst of great uncertainty. Thanks for tuning in. We hope you'll listen tomorrow.